What I prefer, and this is me personally, I'd rather have the Benny Johnsons out there representing the United States flag. Make it 100% clear about what this motherfucker is about. I despise the Crane Jean Pierre's, the black women coming out representing the empire. Get the fuck out of here. The Democrats, the Black Congressional Caucus. I don't want these motherfuckers to be facing the empire. We respect human rights. That's why we are bombing hospitals. So what do you guys prefer? Because the empire is the same no matter what. Like, I'd honestly rather have them be honest about who they are. I'd rather them have Benny Johnsons out there. Oh, we take a selfie at concentration camps instead of the Biden team. Kamala Harris, they will have lawyers. They would find a way to legally explain what they're doing using their academic prowess. I'd rather have these dummies who suck at managing the empire. AOC and the progressives, they signed off to that too. That's what I'm worried about with Zoran Mamdani, because I feel like he has to overcompensate because he said some shit on Twitter before he knew he was going to be mayor. Like, he said some base ass shit. You know what I mean? So now I'm worried that he has to overcompensate now. So he's going to stick NYPD on pro-Palestine protest. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but
I don't even like Mamdani. I don't like his platform. I think he's kind of cringe and cheesy, but I respect that he won. Like, he's just not my type of candidate. Yeah, I don't live in New York. He's not leading me, so I don't really have a very strong opinion. But now we're talking about stripping him of his citizenship and deporting him?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to visit Israel as if he wins mayor of New York? Instead of saying maybe we shouldn't put up the same establishment candidates over and over and over. Why is Eric Adams running as an independent? Because he's more ingratiated with the Republicans now. Like, Cuomo's running as an independent because he's an establishment Democrat. Like, instead of being insightful and self-reflective, it's more like, well, it's them. It's not us. We just got to deport them. We deport the ideas and they're gone. It's just, it's a nutty. It's a crazy.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I explained this on our channel before. I'm not a fan of Mamdani. I think he's goofy. I'm not a fan of his toxic positivity. Like, in his fake smile. We almost smell and everything. I'm not a fan of that shit. But at the same time, I'm not hating on the people in New York who was desperate. You know, they want to lower the cost of goods. I understand it. But I'm not a big fan of Zoran, and you guys must believe he will sell you out as soon as he can. But I also will take any opportunity for a propaganda win, and I've been using his election as a way to dig into the Zionists and expose the empire for who they truly are. Like, you see Hakeem Jeffries, you see Richard Torres, they're like, I don't want nothing to do with this guy, and you're seeing the naked racism of the Democratic Party, and there are a lot of people being surprised. Now, this is the time where we put oil on the fire. This is where we're supposed to be instigators, where we drive with this drama. That's what I'm doing a lot. And the people who are surprised about, like, these comments from these Democratic senators being insanely racist towards Zoran, I don't know why people are surprised, because remember, they denied Palestinians who endorsed genocide from speaking at the DNC. Think about how crazy racist the Democratic Party is. I know people don't talk about it because they only talk about Republican racism, but think about how batshit crazy racist the Democratic Party is. You had a group of Palestinians that was willing to endorse the genocide of their own people. They was willing to vote for a person who murdered countless Palestinians, but because they hated Palestinians and they hate Arabs so much, they wouldn't allow them to speak at the DNC. Isn't that disqualifying for a party? Like, for people who say, oh, I think racism, I have a zero tolerance for racism. Why are you in the Democratic Party? Like, they're filled with the most racist Karens in the world. But I digress, Sarah.
That's exactly right. And that was kind of everybody's argument as well. It was like, at the end of the day, you're part of the Democratic Party and you're beholden to them. Whether you're a sock dem, a dem sock, or a communist, you ran on the Democratic Party's ticket. And I think you're right to be skeptical about Mamdani. I also just don't really care because I don't live in New York. Like, that's the thing. Like, all these crazy Americans are like, deport him. I'm like, where do you live? They're like, the Ozarks, Missouri. I'm like, I can see if you're in New Jersey or Connecticut and you're concerned. But like anybody outside that tri-state area should have zero opinion, or should have, I shouldn't say they should have zero opinion. It's normal to have an opinion. It's not normal to feel invested in it. Then go live there.
Yeah, the people with Mom Donnie derangement syndrome. I think these
Oh
people,
my
what
God.
are they? Benny Johnson. These people are like, oh my God, a Muslim is taking over New York. The Muslim is infiltrating our city. Like, bro, we have how many Jewish elected officials? And you got these white dudes like, oh my God, I can't believe there's a Sharia law takeover of New York. Like, bro, AIPAC literally ruined
he's like the wokest person ever. He's like, I like LGBTQ. I'm all about sex worker liberation. I'm all, you know, like those aren't things that I support. But like, I'm like, he's not Sharia law. He's not an Islamist. He's like woke. Like,
that's a funny point.
Both ways. He's either a militant Islamist or he's gonna make New York gayer. Like, I don't understand. Like, and there's really not a such thing as Islamic communism. It's just not in this day and age anyway. Yeah. It's just a very weird knot that they've twisted themselves in. Benny Johnson is just on my nerves lately. He's become like the kind of like the Opie sort of all-American boy that like goes around and does propaganda for the regime. It's very weird. And since you brought him up, I'll throw this up because I want to know your opinion on Alligator Alcatraz. And here's Benny Johnson manufacturing consent for this new privatized prison. They're selling merch, guys. Come down here. Things are going insanely well.
What the fuck?
I can't. Like, I don't really understand the concept of what it like, and I don't really think that the topic needs to be Alligator Alcatraz necessarily. It's like the concept. We were gonna give you mass deportations, and we all probably would have been fine if that was done, you know, quietly. It's all circus and no bread. It's like, we're gonna put them in cages. You can come visit them. It's gonna cost $1.2 million a day. And everything's going insanely well. And you're like, how is this a solution? And how is this normal?
People like Benny Johnson cracks me up, man. It's hard to take these like hardcore parts and super seriously. It's like the more gay these people are, the more hardcore they lean into fascism to make up for it. He's like this generation's Milo. I mean, you know, remember that Milo guy who was gay as hell? He forced himself to become straight. That's who Benny reminds me of. Because I don't know, but I've seen a lot of rumors. This guy is like the most obviously running away from his demons.
I agree.
Straight motherfucker I've ever seen in my life. And these white gay dudes who like run from their demons. That's why they're obsessed with the LGBTQ community, because they hate that people are showing who they really are. That's why you got all these like undercover really gay Republicans.
They are. Yep.
I'm not talking shit, guys. It's real, guys. I live in Missouri, motherfucker. This shit is real. Like the numbers don't add up. Like all these people claim to hate gay people, but I look at like the gay porn numbers is crazy. Like you got all these people undercover, all these undercover Republicans.
I don't want to hear it. The influencers, we call them the homocons. There is a whole gay mafia in the influencer and like GOP circles and the technocrat circles. You're exactly right. They're all closeted and weird. They're not like a normal, I don't want to say a normal gay. I don't know how to phrase it. They're just nuts. These people are
wasn't Grindr like popping? Like Grindr was on fire during the RNC.
Grindr goes crazy.
You guys can't tell me Benny is not running.
Has hair that's like more well maintained and longer than mine. Like, what are we doing here? And he's like, it's all bonkers. It's all the GOP is just weird.
You can't tell me that boy Benny is not running away from some demons. That's all I'm gonna say. Back to the topic.
Oh my God.
He's definitely running away from demons. Every single clip I've seen from this dude. Jesus Christ. Anyway, it's cool though, because like there's a spectrum. I thought we agreed on that. There's a spectrum. Yeah. Let's just say that. But regarding the topic, you guys know I like to have fun, especially with my friend Sarah. But I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. Maybe I'm crazy. But I much prefer the out in the open racism, the empire has no clothes, politics. Once again, I understand why people disagree with me. I'm not saying this is.
No, I like that it's out in the open for sure.
Like the empire is evil as shit, guys. No matter who's in charge. Like you guys understand that Joe Biden's ICE was so evil that people was going on hunger strike because conditions were so bad. There was people under Biden's ICE that was being sexually assaulted, and there was no accountability. Like, so either way, the empire is evil. What I prefer, and this is me personally, I'd rather have the Benny Johnsons out there representing the United States flag. Make it 100% clear about what this motherfucker is about. I despise the Crane Jean Pierre's, the black women coming out representing the empire. Get the fuck out of here. The Democrats, the Black Congressional Caucus. I don't want these motherfuckers to be facing the empire. We respect human rights. That's why we are bombing hospitals. So what do you guys prefer? Because the empire is the same no matter what. I'd honestly rather have them be honest about who they are. I'd rather them have Benny Johnsons out there. Oh, we take a selfie at concentration camps instead of the Biden team. Kamala Harris, they will have lawyers. They would find a way to legally explain what they're doing using their academic prowess. I'd rather have these dummies who suck at managing the empire. You know what I mean? But either way, we get the same thing.
You are a little bit accelerationist, though. You are. I am too. I do like that they're out in the open. I do like that. I mean, obviously, it makes for great content, but this is the type of stuff that it's much easier discussed if it's out in the open. And you really, when people deny it, you know that they're just in a cognitive dissonance land. Like they just don't want to believe it. So it does make it a lot easier for people like us, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing new.
Can you imagine going back in hindsight in 10 years and saying, "Man, I advertised merch for like a deportation camp in a swamp"? Like, I would be so ashamed.
These the new generation of right wing media figures. They trying to catch up. I still don't believe anyone have anything on Rush Limbaugh. Sorry, guys. I grew up during the Rush Limbaugh era. These new right wing commentators, they don't got shit on him, bro. They're not nearly as edgy. I remember I used to have Rush Limbaugh derangement syndrome, bro. That motherfucker used to piss me off so much. So whenever I see these like Benny Johnson, I'm like, you guys are amateurs compared to Rush Limbaugh and those people.
They really
like,
are.
That's the right wing I grew up with. That's why I hate like the liberals with Trump derangement syndrome, because like, oh, I wish the Republican Party will go back. Go back to what? The Rush Limbaugh?
Reagan.
The Newt Gingrich, bro, that's the Republican Party that made me vote Obama. Like these are the people who made me have Republican derangement syndrome. So Trump, he's a metropolitan shit lib.
Do me a favor, though. If you want to know why we're so cooked, do yourself a favor and watch. I know you don't like Nick Fuentes, but do yourself a favor and just watch the parts, at least of Dinesh D'Souza last night.
I seen some clips.
He's only what, 56? He's in his 60s, right? 60s or 70s. He's not that old. He's older. But these people are still in our intelligentsia and our think tanks. And he's talking about when Reagan did it, and we're like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Joe Biden? Like even Nick had to stop and be like, dude, this is 2025. Like, but those are the people that run the country. So I'm not shocked that people be like, I want the GOP to go back to how it was. Like, all this romantic.
Do you guys remember the George Bush Republican Party? George W. Bush invaded Iraq, and he said God told him to. And that was the messaging, bro. I was a teenager growing up with this shit. My mind was blown.
They're doing it again.
Yeah.
I mean, Trump has more than once said that, you know, I was saved for a reason. God put me here for a reason. I didn't die for a reason. Other people are reinforcing that. I mean, the freaking billboards in Tel Aviv, they look like the Last Supper, and Trump is in the position of Jesus Christ. So it's like, it's a very, I mean, the same thing I said, we're going to deal with the messianic thing. And I think that we are. I really do.
Yeah, and that's why I try to be, and I hope people understand, like, I have anger towards like influencers. I'm not angry at the average person, because whenever I see these Gen Zers with Trump derangement syndrome, I get it, because they going through the same thing I went through during the George W. Bush era, because Donald Trump, they follow the same pattern. And when you study history, you realize, like, dude, the ruling class, they legitimately do the same thing over and over again. You know what I mean? Like, Bush was a liberal elite. Then he go like Yale. I don't know his whole biography.
He's a Yaley. Mm-hmm.
He was a liberal elite, and he also started talking like a Texan.
Right.
To win over the dumb rednecks. That's the same thing Trump did. This motherfucker was pro-life. He was an abortion activist his entire life. Then he realized he wanted to be a Republican. All of a sudden, he's pro-life. Like, when you see the same things over and over again, you see these patterns. And that's why me and Sarah, we roll our eyes at people like in their 40s. that's still going through this. You know what I mean? It's like, how many cycles of this have you seen? And you still going through this game. Gen Zers, I get it, bro. You see it. You going through life. You seeing the world the first time. This shit's crazy. I've been there. But if you're in your 40s, bro, how many of these cycles do you have to see before
exactly. That's why I mean, it was great to watch because, I don't talk to people in that age group really, or in that demographic. So I was like, oh my God, I keep forgetting that there's really these people still exist, that they haven't completely died off yet. And it's just, it's actually kind of scary, but I do agree with the, sympathizing with the Zoomers kind of going through, because we went through it with Bush. But I also feel bad for the Zoomers because Bush knew he had 8 years, so he took his time. Trump only had 4, and he's a lame duck president. So this is like no foreplay, just right into the war. I didn't even get to debate in my mind whether their weapons of mass destruction were real. Like, we just went right in. So it is, but it is just like, and they even got into an argument last night on the debate about, he was like, how can you say that it doesn't matter which party's in power? How can you say there's a uniparty? Don't tell an actual neo.
I gotta watch this debate. I seen the clip and this, Nick is a young Zoomer, and he's like fucking destroying this.
He did.
It's like because you guys know I love combat sports. It's like watching an old wasp fighter fighting a new up and coming. Nick Fuentes is a young up and coming fascist, and he debating old fascists, and he's just whooping his ass.
He literally did. He ran circles around the guy. But I really like the evolution that Nick's on. He's getting less and less untouchable. Do you know what I mean? He's getting more, not mainstream friendly, but it's not all anti. I don't know how to explain it, but anyway, regardless. So I do watch him here and there, but mostly when he's on Alex Jones, because I like to see the kind of dichotomy. And when I found out he was debating Dinesh D'Souza, I was like, I haven't seen this motherfucker in years, so I wonder what he's up to. And then I watched
D'Souza is washed, man.
They're nuts. The D'Souzas are crazy. What happened was that this is fantastic. How it happened was they were. Dinesh D'Souza's son-in-law, who is white, was ragging on Mamdani on Twitter about him eating the rice with his hands. And I think Nick Fuentes was like, you're married to an Indian. And then the daughter, who she's gorgeous, by the way, but not all there, she freaked out and she was like, I'm not Indian. I'm American. I'm MAGA. I'm a good Christian American. And then it bloomed out of that. So the whole thing is ridiculous from the get-go. Because they're just so not self-aware at all. They're like, you're South Indian. They're like, I'm American. So that's where the debate came from. And Dinesh D'Souza is just typical neocon sort of fascist, and his reasonings for protecting Israel. It's all it's very much strike first and hard, so they can't strike. It's all shock and awe. It was a really interesting debate because you have to remember these people are still circling around Trump.
Nick Fuentes, he brings that hardcore, I'm a true racist energy to these motherfuckers. He's like, you motherfuckers
high IQ racist, literally, if that's an oxymoron, if I ever said one. But
he like, you guys are on that fake shit. You guys are actually globalists. I'm on that real racist shit.
Yeah.
And their ideology is so inconsistent, they can't deal with them, bro. Because they pretend to be like Nick Fuentes, but Nick Fuentes is about that real Nazi shit. So when they can't really. They can't. It's very interesting. I told you I'm a nerd, so it's very interesting to see it. Because he's the untouchable on the right. You guys know how there are a lot of people on the left who they won't engage with us. They won't engage with me because we're the untouchables. We are the people that they don't want to. They know that we can spot out their contradictions. Yeah. That's what Nick Fuentes, like him or not, that's what he does to the right, bro. Nick, he's not even focused on us. He's not even bothering us. He just spend all his time trolling people on the right. To me, it's kind of hilarious. Just kind of witness. You guys know I don't like that motherfucker at all.
Well, I think about it. He grew up with MAGA. I mean, he literally came of age with MAGA, and this isn't a defense of Nick. It's about everybody who kind of came of age with MAGA, this sort of Zoomer class who's been very disaffected. The Biden years were not kind to them. They're having issues with socialization. They're very dejected from society. They don't have a lot of hope, and he represents this demographic. And I think that's why it's important to take in what some of the stuff that he says, not saying accept it and make it your own, but to understand the demographic that he's kind of speaking to and for. And these kids, while they're not Nazis or going to be all fascists or Christian nationalists, they're very disaffected and dejected by society. And he had hope. They had hope in MAGA and America First, and now they don't have any again. So I understand the anger and the angst and the questioning. And that's exactly how we were. We went through Obama, and then we got gypped with the Bernie. I mean, I caucused for Bernie. I loved Bernie. I was a freak. I was like a Bernie girl in 2016. And the same thing happened to us. I mean, what was Bernie's slogan? I forget even, but that was, we weren't MAGA, we were the other way. And then Hillary Clinton kind of took that away from us. The sad part is that it wasn't, well, Bernie kind of took it away a little bit, but the sad part here is that Trump's the one who's giving it away for them. Bernie didn't really necessarily screw us and give it away in the end too badly, but Trump is really screwing over MAGA, the people that got him elected. Like, that's this sort of class of people.
Yeah, the rise of people like Nick Fuentes proves our Marxist critique right in a lot of ways, because we explain how when the failure of neoliberal capitalism, when the center craters, the working class have a choice. Do we embrace socialism? Do we embrace revolution? Do we break the working class? Or do we lean towards fascism? Nick Fuentes is the example of what happens when a disenfranchised class lean towards more race organizing, more fascist organizing. And I'm not a liberal, and this is why, like, a lot of people on the left, they hate that I have conversations with people like Jake Shields. I will go on Jimmy's show, Glenn's show, because I'm not a liberal. I believe in the potential of the working class. Liberalism convinces people to have disdain, distrust for ordinary people, disdain for the activists. Oh, they're the Red Blue Alliance. Oh, they're secretly fascist. We can't talk to these people because they're racist. That's very liberal-minded and liberal thing. And there are a lot of people who call themselves socialists who still believe in this liberal bullshit. But as someone who actually believes in the potential of the working class, I see someone like Nick Fuentes, and I want to out-hustle him. I want to bring more people on my side than him, because he's bringing the fascist argument to them and he's winning those people over. We need to be competing with him. We need to out-hustle. We need to win those people over who are going to Fuentes, who are choosing the fascist wing. And there are a lot of people who like to shoo. Oh, man, shouldn't be talking to these people. We shouldn't be. No. As someone who believes in the potential of the working class, unlike liberalism, we should be trying to win over the entirety of the working class. That's what I believe. And that's why I premiering this my conversation with Jake Shields today. I was on Jake Shields' show. I know a lot of people on the left Twitter are gonna have a fucking meltdown because like Jake Shields, he's one of them people that he talks to everybody. He had KAK members, he had all these crazy people on the show, and he was like, "Man, I like RBN." Honestly, he's like he weirdly likes RBN, even though he considered himself on the right. So he invited me on, have a conversation. I'm getting them to agree with defund the police. I'm getting them to agree with universal health care. It's like, if we're not having these conversations, people like Nick Fuentes will. So I can't wait to show you guys that video, because
that's awesome. I get a lot of shit. Well, I get a lot of shit for talking to a lot of people, and I am the same exact way. I'll talk to anybody. Like, I want to know what everybody's thinking. I want to know what wavelength everybody's on. I think we get stuck in these safe spaces and echo chambers, and it does us actually a lot of harm. I find myself in them a lot, especially lately when the news gets really hectic. You wind up in an echo chamber. You got to make sure that you stay at least grounded to kind of listen to the opposite views. And it's so important. I've learned more from a lot, just these people challenging my ideas than I have from somebody affirming them. If you got to defend your ideas, you're going to be a lot more attached to them and a lot more comfortable with them than if somebody's just constantly confirming them. And I value that a lot. I get shit for like talking to Richard Spencer. I'm like, have you ever spoken to him though? And like listen to the actual things he says. I don't agree with them, but these people are well spoken and they're well read and they're learned, and those, you should still be listening to them even though you think that they're wrong.
This entire thing about me being in a leftist echo chamber, that's actually very new. like this whole thing about being only around leftists, that's a very new thing in my life. I live in Missouri. I've been surrounded by conservatives the majority of my life. I'm used to talking to conservatives more than leftists for the most part. This whole thing about me being surrounded by leftists is the last 4 years out of 30 years of my life. So that's why I told Jake, like, man, I'm surprised. Like I said, I'm always willing to talk to people on the right. I want to talk to anyone who wanted to have me on. And once again, big shout out to him, because when I wanted to show, I was like, bro, I want to win these people over. And I went very, very hard. And you see, if you look at the comments, a lot of them are very receptive. If you're not one to have these conversations, you're already allowing the ruling class to win. That's why they want us to be separated. That's why they build a highway in between our communities to keep us separated. That's why the ruling class, these people, they paid influencers, going back to Benny, for example. They're paid, they're making 6 figures a year. Some easily making 7 to 10 figures, 7 to 8 figures a year. So of course they will push these cultural war issues. Of course they will push all these wedge issues to make us feel like we're divided and we hate each other more than we actually do. But when you look at the American people, when they actually support, like every single poll is consistent. Like whenever you ask them about even stuff like immigration, it's pretty low. People care about the economy. That's what they care about. What actually will impact the material life. So it's our job to keep people refocused on that kind of stuff. If that makes sense. But Sarah, I'll pass back to you.
I agree. And I think that the reason why they're so receptible, like over in the Jake Shields chat, is that those are the type of people who get caught up in echo chambers, or they're too busy to go seek out other opinions. So it's so important that people like you take opportunities to go on shows like that. Like, I've gotten shit for, I'm sure you've gotten it too for me. I've gotten shit for having this show with you. People are like, how could you hang out with a communist? I'm like, first of all, what are you talking about? And second of all, I'll talk to Adolf Hitler if he was alive right now. Like, I don't understand like what this idea is. Like, you can't talk to anybody. I gotta police who you talk to. And if you give air to their ideas, all of a sudden they're gonna take hold, sort of thing. It's a very weird idea, but
it's very like
for you going on Jake Fields.
It actually annoyed me. It's cop behavior. I understand, like if you want people like I will never talk to someone who's racist. That mindset 100% makes sense to me. Like it's not your job, like for black and brown to debate race in their job. But what's weird to me is when you get upset when other people do it, because I want people I want someone to prove me wrong. Like I'm the kind of person who bring my. And you guys will see when I show the video on RBN. I want to bring my tanky ass arguments to someone, and if they knock it down, that will make me rethink shit. I'm like, wait, what?
Yes.
I was really like, man, this motherfucker.
But just like just like a callus, it gets your ideas. The more you challenge them and then sort of adapt them, they get more solidified, and you feel more confident when you're like, no, this is what I believe in. I believe in this. I'm confident. Like for me, multipolarity. Like I'm constantly challenged on that, and at the end of the day, I've just been like, I'm not against communism. I'm fine with communism if that's what the people want. Like, this is weird. I'm not against any ideology. Like if that's what people want, who am I to tell them what they should and shouldn't have? But I don't not like communism.
Yeah. Sarah never gave me anti-communist energy. I explained many times before, and I have Nico on. Nico's my good brother. You don't have to be a communist for me to be friends with you. What I do draw a red line is, if you're anti-communist, I'll be way less likely to want to talk to you. Like anti-communism is where I draw the line, because I just truly wouldn't want to be in conversation with you in general. Because anti-communism is a dangerous ideology, which is it led to the death of millions. Like you guys understand what anti-communism done to humanity, did to the global working class. But you don't have to be a fucking theory reading Marxist Leninist for me to be in conversation with you. I think some people need to drop that. You know what I mean?